My son asks me stuff now about anything, and I'll tell him. Like, I didn't have that with my father. Wow. Friends of mine whose parents should have been arrested and incarcerated.
Wow.
That's how bad these beatings were, and I saw the bruises my friends would show up with at the front door looking for me. And I'd be like, wow. And I can't comprehend as a parent now how that they could do that to their own kids.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and they weren't even bad kids. They didn't deserve that, like, you know.
Mm.
And I'm not being biased because they were my friends. I'd swear by that to the day I die. But anyway.
Good day, good people. Welcome once again to Parenting with Festus. I remain your host, Festus, and today I have a wonderful friend here with me named Gavin. I will let him introduce himself before we go on with the event of today.
That's a nice description, a wonderful friend. Thank you, Festus. I'm Gavin. Festus is a colleague of mine and vice versa, and I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking me.
Yeah. So basically, today we are here to discuss about parenting because, as we all know, these days everything boils down to parenting, whether good or bad. We see children of these days, the way they grow, the way they behave. It's a reflection of how the parents are behaving, and that is why I have this show because I like to hear different side of parenting, because I believe they are not the same way of parenting, but we have different styles. And I have him here today to discuss all he knows about parenting.
Which might not be much, but I'll try.
Yeah, there is no bad way anyways. Just that we all are here to educate ourselves, and then we learn one or two at the end of the show today. So I will start with what the most significant difference between parenting now and versus when you were younger.
You mean myself personally?
Yeah.
Well, I personally, for me, my whole approach has never really changed. From day one, I've always been involved with my son. He's now 20. He's 20 years old now.
Wow.
Which goes very, very fast as well.
Mm.
They're not babies for very long. But no, I've always been there for him 100%. Like, it doesn't, for me, it never really changed. I've always focused on him, his well-being. Always tried to teach him right from wrong, and I feel I've kept that consistent. Of course, as he gets older, they have different personal needs. They get a little bit more independent, but I think fundamentally, I've always tried to stay the same. If I've been there, if he needed anything, if he asked me any questions, I'd always answer him truthfully. I've never over the years he's been asking me all sorts of questions of different subjects, and I've always told him the truth, and it's always been like that. Like, my parenting sort of like style has never ever changed, and it never will.
Oh, okay. So are you
if that's what you're asking me?
Yeah. So are you saying that your parenting style has not evolved over the years?
Do you mean like maybe I feel I made mistakes in one area and I made some slight differences here and there?
Yeah, like, okay, now the way you were when it was a bit younger, like still a toddler, is different from the way you handle him when he became like a teenager.
Well, yeah, but obviously you have to adapt as best you can. Like, we don't know what life is going to throw us. We don't know what hurdles he might be encountering on his journey from a toddler to a child to a teenager. You need to be adaptable to these. Anything. Life is like that. It's unpredictable.
Yeah, that's true. So let me ask you.
We're still learning. You learn all the time as a parent. You do learn all the time.
Yeah. Let me ask you a very big question here.
Yeah.
What does being a good father mean to you?
For me, a good father to me is a father who brings a child into the world, who takes responsibility for it.
Yeah.
And does the very best he can to provide, communicate. Life is difficult. Life is very difficult, and it can be very difficult for children.
Sure.
Especially if their parents, for example, don't get along. They split up. That can be very traumatizing. You have to be very, very careful with kids. Like,
Yeah.
they have a very fragile eggshell mind. That's how I would describe it.
Yeah.
And people need to be really, really careful with their kids
Yeah. That
from an early stage.
that's true because there is a balance when the two parents are together.
Yeah.
But when it's only one, it's sways off sometimes. But you
Yeah.
can still find a way to balance it. But it should definitely take some time
Yeah, and a good father to me, even if the relationship with the mother doesn't work out,
to.
they should always still, even if they have to fight to be in their children's lives. It's not an excuse to head off and I'm not with the mother anymore. Like and just head off and do their own thing and just basically almost sort of abandon the child. Although I've heard fathers say, well, no, I can't see my kids now because I don't want to see her. I hate her. You know, to me that's not really a very good excuse to just ignore your kids if a relationship hasn't worked out.
Yeah, you already brought them. You have to be involved in their life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're not just, a kid is for life, not just for Christmas festivals. That's the way I see it. Like,
That's so true. Well, how do you handle difficult conversations with them kids?
I can honestly say I've never felt awkward with talking with my child or any. Well, other people's kids, if they ask me questions, I'd be careful what I say to them because they're not my kids.
Yeah.
If they ask me questions about, say, sex or something, I'd say, well, maybe you should approach your parents about that. I could answer the question, but with my son, I've never felt uncomfortable because I've sort of instilled it in him from an early age that if he wants to ask me anything, he can. Always have, like, my relationship with my son is completely different to the relationship I have with my father.
Oh yeah.
And I deliberately made it that way.
Okay, let me ask this question then. How would you rate your parenting style in comparison to the way your parent or your father?
You can't even compare them. They're so different. Well, like my father, he done his best.
Yeah.
As a provider, he done what he believed was right. I just think communication is very, very important between a parent and their child. And my father, he wasn't a very good communicator. I don't think it's because he wasn't bothered. I just don't think he knew how, or he I don't know how to really describe it. It's just the way he was.
It's his person.
It's the way he is. He just doesn't. He's like, I'm your father. You're my son. You'll do what I say. He wasn't very approachable. I never felt I could approach my father and communicate with him. Never ask him questions. Like my son asks me stuff now about anything, and I'll tell him. Like I didn't have that with my father.
Wow.
And
Yeah, because I think when you were growing up, things were much different from what it seems to be now.
Yeah.
And
Different generation though.
Yeah, and now we are in the age of technology and internet and everything. And now you can't even discipline your child without you being police being called up or something.
Yeah.
It's actually crazy. And but you being the parent, you know the best you want for your child.
Yeah. Well, I think physical punishment of children is not the answer. I don't know what you think of that. Everyone's entitled to their opinion there. When I was growing up with some of my friends, to this day, I'll say it on camera, there's friends of mine whose parents should have been arrested and incarcerated.
Wow.
That's how bad these beatings were, and I saw the bruises my friends would show up with at the front door looking for me. And I'd be like, wow. And I can't comprehend as a parent now how that they could do that to their own kids.
That's incredible.
And they weren't even bad kids. They didn't deserve that, And I'm
So-
not being biased because they were my friends. I'd swear by that to the day I die. But anyway.
Well, as being a parent, has it influenced your life for good or bad?
Oh, absolutely, 100% good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It changes your life so much. But some people get a bit dramatic and say, oh, you have kids and your life is over. No, your life isn't over. Your life is your life that you knew was over. You have a different life now, but I think it's it's more positive It just, for me, having a child was one of the best things, the best thing I've ever done, ever. Although at times it's obviously it's challenging, it's difficult. Financially, it was difficult at times.
Yeah.
But I'd never give them back, ever. It's brilliant.
Well,
And how any man or woman can bring a child into the world and then want nothing to do with them, that goes on a lot. I can't comprehend that at all.
yeah, in the recent times, I've heard or seen on social media where the father is not present in the child's life, and the mother still want to enjoy some alone time, so they lock the child alone in the house. In fact, there was one that I saw that the lady went for 3 days and the child died of starvation in the UK. Yeah.
I can't even comment on that, Festus. That's just unthinkable.
Yeah.
You know,
So I now start wondering that how did it get to that level that you have to abandon a child? But that is not why we're here today. So just to go back.
It's a bit of a grim conversation, but it does tie in with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Parenting, like, how can it get to that stage where a parent just,
Yeah, so how do you balance being an authority figure with being a friend to your children?
Right. Well, I think what happens is one parent is the serious authority side of things,
Yeah.
and the other is the fun parent. That happens quite a lot. Now, I'll be honest, I think my son's I think I was the fun parent,
Yeah.
and the mother was the... Although I didn't let him away with murder either. Like, whenever I thought he was doing something out of line, I'd take him aside, speak to him, and that's how I deal with him.
Yeah, because...
But I always found it sort of difficult to be really hard on him, because in a lot of ways my parents were hard on me. I'm not saying they were bad parents by any means, but I didn't believe in a lot of the discipline I received. I didn't think it was right. I still don't. And I didn't think it was productive.
No.
I don't think it did me any good, a lot of it. Really don't. And that was always instilled in my mind when I became a parent myself. Like, I would not do a lot of that. Like, I was going to raise him the way I thought was right. And I didn't do that bad a job, because he's quite a respectful young man.
Yeah.
Well, he is in front of me anyway. If there's anybody out there knows any different, I want a full report.
Okay, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger parent himself?
I probably would have made sure I was maybe a little bit more financially secure at the time, and I had maybe a little bit more help around me.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have that, and it does make things a bit more difficult. Although you have to stand on your own 2 feet as a parent as well.
Yeah.
That's mainly it. That sort of like sticks out. Like I was 30 years old when I became, but I don't think I was too young to be a parent.
Oh wow.
I don't think I was too young.
You're not too young, because I've seen teenagers having kids. No.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I just think I had maybe known a bit more and just planned it a little bit better, so it wouldn't have been as tough on me in the long run. But I got through it, so
So what are some essential life skills that you taught to them kids?
What essential life skills? Pretty simple, really. Not just my son, but kids in general. Teach them to be honest. Always be honest in everything you do. An honest person has nothing to fear, and there's no obstacles you can't overcome in life if you're honest from day one. Be respectful to people. That'll get you along. I think that'll get you a long way in life as well, because most people will respect you back, and if they don't, if people don't respect you, don't respect them.
That's true. Let me ask you, this question might not be pertinent to you as a parent, but do you think the type of friendship that children keep, aside from the parent, does it affect their life?
Yes, absolutely. Like, there's influences everywhere. But from my observations, I think you've got kids who are good kids and good hearts, and they tend to all gravitate towards each other. Right? They find each other anyway. And then you have kids who aren't as well balanced, let's just say, for reasons that's not their fault. It could be from bad homes. They could be picking it up from the parents themselves, and yeah, they go a different way.
So on a final note, yeah, I would like you to give a word of advice to parents with young kids or people that are planning to have kids later on.
Okay. My advice to anyone out there planning to have kids is give it 100%. It's a very, very, very obviously very, very responsible role. It's not an easy job. A lot of people might want kids and then they get the shock of their life then when the kids arrive. It has to be something you're going to be 100% dedicated to, and it's a lifelong thing. Like my son he's an adult now, but my attitude towards him is I'm still there from 100%. It's not like, you're grown up now, go and do your own thing. You don't need me. I still, I'm still there from just as much as when he was that size. You know what I mean? And I always will be. Like, he'll always be my child, no matter how old he is.
Yeah, that's true.
And just communicate, listen, be a good listener. I don't think physical punishment is the answer. I said that earlier on. I really don't. The odd little, sometimes, I'll put it this way, this is the truth. You could count on one hand, and my son would tell you that himself. You could count on one hand the times I've hit my son. And it was really when I had no choice in the matter. It was, and I believe that was the right way, and I still do. Of course, everyone's going to have different opinions.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't have to listen to me or anything I say.
Well, it's an advice at the end of the day.
It's only advice. It's just my own opinion, and everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Well, thank you very much.
No problem.
I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks for having me, and I hope I didn't bore too many people.
No.
Like and subscribe to Festus's channel and show. He's a top guy, super intelligent. It's been a pleasure being here, Festus. Thanks very much for that.
Thank you very much. Till the next time, stay tuned.